Dallas Mavericks today by Chat Sports coming at you here on a Friday. Harrison Graham and Jeffrey Cooperstein here. And speaking of coming back, Tim Hardaway Jr.
Apparently.
Mark Cuban hopped on Sirius XM and said that Tim would be back. I think his exact quote was, "We're bringing Timmy back." So,
well, I have news for you. We have it.
Ah, yes. That's what we call
I'll let you read this, but he basically said it in passing, so go ahead and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, because there's context here, obviously. Obviously, feel really good about the offseason. We got a lot younger, a lot more athletic. We'll have the whole preseason with Kyrie and Luka together. We've surrounded them with guys who can defend, adding Seth who can shoot, bringing Timmy back. I think Rashawn Holmes is going to be the most underrated pick of the summer. So he kind of just rehashes the whole offseason, but he kind of just slides that in there,
exactly.
right?
He kind of slid it in there in the background. Oh, we're bringing Tim Hardaway Jr. back. So I think that's interesting. Like I said, he talked about it in passing. I'm not sure this means he's actually really going to be back. I think he's talked about players in this light before, where he's like, yeah, we're bringing this guy back, we're bringing this guy back, and then they're traded.
You know what I took about this? This was Cuban protecting himself and the Mavs, in my opinion, of we might trade Tim, but
we might
there's
not.
a little friction between us and him. So if I make a comment, yeah, we're bringing Timmy back, and we don't trade him, then hopefully, if there are any lingering issues, friction, whatever the case may be, then that could be smoothed over. Because obviously, come basketball season, you just want to be able to go out there and play. You don't want to have I wouldn't say a fractured locker room, but you don't want to have any potential.
You don't want any malcontents
carrying over from the year before. So I think that it was Cuban just kind of protecting that relationship a little bit more than anything else. But look, I still think if there's a trade out there that is a clear upgrade and it's a package they like involving Tim, I don't think Tim's untouchable. I think they would absolutely ship him out for the right trade.
But on the contrary, I still think Tim could be a valuable piece to this team. He's a guy who's going to shoot 36-ish% from three. He had a great year last year at 38.5%. And I think he still can provide that veteran presence that the Mavs need in this locker room right now. He's a guy he's been with them. He's one of the longest tenured Mavs, I believe, since the KP trade in 2019. So he's a guy that knows the organization. I think he gets along well with the team for the most part. There was obviously some friction last year, and he wasn't thrilled about his role and about the team as a whole, which no one should be because they went 38-44.
Yeah, they underachieved.
But like you said, if there's a trade out there, I think the Mavs would be fools not to explore it.
I just look at this Coop and I see a logjam. You've got Tim Hardaway, you've got Josh Green, you've got Seth Curry, you've got Jaden Hardy, you've got I feel like I'm missing someone else. I mean, Kyrie plays the two. What is Hardaway's role? Is he going to start at the three? I think right now this would be the starting five. Hell, it could even be Powell at the five, but I think your 1 through 4 would be Luka, Kyrie, Green, and Williams. So what does your bench unit and rotation look like? Are you playing Hardy, Hardaway, and Seth Curry together? I just don't.
Yeah, that doesn't quite work.
I don't know how that works at the same time. So I feel like you have a lot of logjam at that two guard spot.
I think the most likely scenario would be if Tim stays, Kyrie runs the point on the second unit, and then you have those guys in kind of a 4-guard lineup, which I don't think they can use very often.
Yeah, someone's taking a backseat is the point I'm trying to say.
No doubt.
Is Seth only playing 12 to 15 minutes?
I just don't see it.
Is Jaden Hardy not going to take that leap in terms of his role in the rotation? Look, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't earn that. I don't know. But I just think you're almost one body too big, which is why I think they'd rather get a 3-4 wing than a 2-3 wing, which is what Tim Hardaway is.
Yeah, and according to Tim Cato of The Athletic, the Mavs and Pistons as late as last week, discussed a trade that would send Tim and JaVale McGee to the Pistons for Bojan Bogdanovic and Killian Hayes. So this is apparently talks advanced enough to where there was a framework of a deal, and the Mavs and Pistons discussed it, but it fell apart for whatever reason. I think if I were the Mavs, obviously there'd be draft compensation involved as well. I think this would be a pretty good deal to take.
Yeah, because again, you get bigger from Tim to Bojan, right? Bojan's more of a 3-4, Tim's more of a 2-3, and he's really a 2, if we're being honest. You dump JaVale. Look, Killian Hayes has been a bust, but one thing he does is he is a point guard. You don't have that bench point guard unless you think Jaden Hardy or Seth Curry is
I think that's Dante Exum, who we'll get to at the end of the show, but He's not going to run point guard very effectively.
No.
He hasn't done it in the NBA. So I think a guy like Hayes, who does have that ball handling ability, could be somewhat of use for this team.
And it gives you more of a one option, whereas again you have a million two options right now. So I think if he's the throw in there, that's at least a little intriguing to me. Obviously, the big part of this is Bojan Bogdanovic. You get a 20-point scorer who can play stretch four, and look, if you bring him in, Coop, you're just kind of exploring is Grant Williams starting at the 3? He's starting at the 4. Is Grant Williams coming off the bench? That's another part of this to consider.
If it were to happen, I think it would be Bogey at the 3 and then Grant Williams at the 4. And I think those guys would kind of flip-flop.
Interchangeable.
One comes out, one goes to the other position, vice versa.
Yeah, Josh Green maybe is kind of your sixth man at that point. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Would you do this trade? I think it depends what that draft compensation is. Coop, if that pick is the 2027 first, are you pulling the trigger?
I'm not. I'm not giving up a first for Bojan, excuse me.
Yeah. It's just a tough one because, if you get off JaVale, you almost wonder if it's worth it, but you could also just stretch wave him. So it's not that big of a financial commitment. Type A for accept, D for decline. Let us know if you would do at least a trade this is kind of the framework of the deal. Now, subscribe to the channel if this trade happens or if any other deal goes down. Coop, myself, we're going to bring you guys the latest news, rumors, trade buzz, everything surrounding this team. If moves are made, we will make a video. So subscribe to the channel. We're still trying to get to 25,000 subs by the end of the month. YouTube.com/MavsTV. Now, Bleacher Report put out an article of some trade ideas that could just happen, and the Mavs were featured in one, and I thought we could break this down. Karl-Anthony Towns, Coop, who, in a separate report, by the way, from this Bleacher Report article, was at least in preliminary trade, discussions, buzz. I think the Timberwolves at least probably got some calls on him at some point.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they would like to get off that contract. Him or Rudy.
And we'll look at the trade idea they cooked up in just a second. It's an interesting one. I'll just put it that way. But first, get yourself a Luka jersey. Represent 77. The guy got engaged on 7-7. I mean, 7's wild. Go to Vegas. Make some money. Nah, just kidding. Buy yourself a jersey, though. Chatsports.com/Luka jersey. That link is in the comments and in the description of this video. Click and shop today and get yourself a Luka Doncic jersey. Okay, Coop, let's look at this trade and then react. So, Bleacher Report used Christian Wood in a sign-and trade, which, hey, if you could use him in a sign-and trade, I'm in. Tim Hardaway Jr., Jaden Hardy in a 2027 first. It's tricky because even as flawed as Towns is, he's a player I would move a 2027 first for. He's still a 20-10 machine.
So that was kind of
Jaden Hardy, as high as I am on him and is, not as high as I am on Towns, let's just be clear. Towns is easily the best player here at this moment in time. That's just a fact. I know, he's weak-minded. He's not a good defender. Those things certainly exist, Coop, but that trade on the surface is not the craziest trade I've ever seen.
So you kind of made the point I was going to make for me. I don't love giving up Jaden Hardy in that first-round pick, but I love the value of this deal, I think, just because of how good of a player Karl-Anthony Towns is. Yeah, he has questions on defense, and he has questions as far as his motor goes, but I think he makes the Mavs a better team, and that's kind of the name of the game right now.
And it's also the contract's tough. Do you want to pay your third-best player, 50-something million, on average over the next few years? In a vacuum, no, but on the flip side, if Cat is a distant third piece behind Luka and Kyrie, that's pretty intriguing, man.
Yeah. Look, I'm not a huge fan of the player, like I said, but this deal I could be talked into.
I mean, he would easily, in terms of just raw talent, be the best number 3 the Mavs have ever had.
Oh, by far, yeah.
I don't think that's even a question.
The Mavs have never had a number 3 that's been an all-star, let alone a guy like Cat who can put up damn near 30 a night.
Probably never had a number 2 like Kyrie. I mean, I guess you could say Nash and Dirk, but Nash was so early on in his career, and Dirk wasn't at his peak yet. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I mean, I would at least consider the framework of that deal. I don't know what his value's worth.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
if you're trading him for just picks, take the money out of it. What is Minnesota getting? One unprotected, one protected first?
The Rudy Gobert trade really messed up the entire trade market for centers.
I think it cuts that in half.
Yeah, I think it's 2 first-round picks, maybe in a swap as well.
Yeah.
I still don't know the answer to the question that's on screen. Would you trade for Cat, type T for trade, type P for pass? I truly don't know. I think I'd lean towards T for trade.
You'd score 125 a game. I don't know.
You'd
if you
score
could
a lot of
stop anybody.
points. You might give up 130 though.
Can Olivier Maxence Prosper play 42 minutes a game just to play
We'll
defense?
find out.
Because that's what would be needed, which, by the way, I do think Omax is going to get some run.
Omax is going to play, man. He's going to play. He's going to play early, and he's going to play often.
T for trade, P for pass. Let us know.
One quick note I just wanted to bring up. The Mavs made the Dante Exum signing official. They signed him for slightly above the minimum, and his money will go into the mid-level exception. So the Mavs will not have the mid-level exception, and also, I believe the second year is non-guaranteed as well.
So, to be clear, number one, it confirms the reports that they didn't really view any remaining free agents for the mid-level. They still have some of the mid-level, though. Like, if they change their mind tomorrow and want to give Kelly Oubre $7 million,
they can still do that.
But they were not going to save the $11-12 million for the full slot for a player. They did not view someone out there. A couple other nuggets. Jaden Hardy out for Summer League.
Yep.
We put that up on Community Post. I almost wonder if part of that is just like, we've seen what we need to see. Like,
yeah, and I didn't get to watch most of the last game, but apparently he was struggling from the free throw line and his shot looked a little off, so they just decided to check it out and shut him down.
Shoulder pain there. Hey, Mike Miles, big opportunity.
Time to shine.
Man.
Mike Miles,
big
Jelly Walker, go eat.
Yeah, they get some opportunities there, and that's it. I think
that's all I got.
With the latest news around this basketball team. He's Jeffrey Cooperstein. I'm Harrison Graham. Get the MFFLs in the comments below if you are a Mavs fan for life. We'll be back tomorrow with another video.